Hello, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order on this beautiful day here on June the 1st. Are there any additions to the agenda? And I'm going to go in clockwise motion on my screen, and I got Merv up front. Any additions, Merv?
Just the letter, the cat letter we got, we're going to discuss that. Jason would be involved, I guess, the way Steve had it set up. We'll discuss it with Jason, or do we have one of them separate items to discuss that cat problem?
Go ahead, Annette, if you want to take that.
Thank you. We're going to discuss it at the next meeting with when Mark is up for bylaw and animal control. Yeah, okay. I did forward it to him. He's going to do some research on it and have a report back for council next meeting. Yeah,
well, what I was thinking is the way Steve was doing it, if they're still doing it, or have you stopped since Steve passed away?
Okay. Jack, any additions?
No additions.
Brent?
Nope, no additions.
Jennifer?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that it would be the right thing to have a moment of silence at 2:15, please. I would say that our flags have been lowered at the municipal office since yesterday and will continue to be lowered until next Wednesday for the 215 hours. We also, and I don't know if Annette wants to do this during her report, the cannabis report from Delcan that's coming forward to a public meeting at the end of June. Also, we've had a request from Cheryl Gallant's office to use the township as a constituency office for an afternoon, and I'll let Annette speak to that when we get there. And at that, Mr. Chair, I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, so if I'm in the middle of something, feel free to jump in at 2:15 for that one. Silence there, Jen, or somebody can let me know.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.
In case it flips there, no, for sure. Thank you very much. Okay, so can I get... Oh, go ahead, Merv.
Oh, it's just a matter of interest, Jen. I loaded my flag to half-mast at home too yesterday.
Good to hear, Merv. So can I...
Thank you, Merv.
Can I get an approval for the agenda as changed? Okay, Merv, all in favor? Yep. Is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof?
Yes, Tim. I'll be declaring a perceived conflict of interest on a correspondence at the committee meeting on June 1st, 2021. The letter from St. James, I will most likely be involved with the redevelopment of the land. There's reference and do not want this to impact the decision of the council. I will remove myself from the table by turning my mute button on and turn my video off if this correspondence is discussed. Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Anyone else? Okay. Can I get an approval for the minutes, or did everybody get a chance to read the minutes of May the 18th? And can I get an approval? Jen, okay. All in favor? Perfect. Okay, we do have one delegation, Greg Lubinev. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, Greg.
You did well.
Okay, you are on till approximately 1:50.
Okay, thank you. I wonder if you could make me co-host so I could do a share screen, Annette.
If I may, I just want to welcome Greg. He has been instrumental in our remote and rural mental health and addiction initiative that's grassroots here in Bonachir Valley. He's been so helpful to all of us with his knowledge. It's just been incredible. So thank you for joining us today. Greg, it's lovely to see you. I just saw you yesterday, but nice to see you again, sir.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And thank you for giving the time for me to present. And from our discussions at the table, one of the things that I realize is we haven't done a good job at connecting to municipal bodies on some of the work that's been taking place on mental health and addictions in Renfrew County. And we all know how important this work is. And in particular, since COVID, the issues related to mental health and addictions has risen its heads across the nation. Anxiety, depression, addiction, looking at eating disorders, and on, that all things seem to be on the rise. And we are expecting this increase to continue for the next little while. In fact, we're still waiting for the largest surge to come, and I think probably October, November of this year, once all the vaccinations are done and people stop worrying about food and washing your hands and getting masks on, that the real mental health issues will start to become more present for them. So one of the things that was developed about 4 years ago through special funding by the ministry, and the province also creating a system of lead agencies, was under a movement called Moving on Mental Health. And the Phoenix Center was selected. And so I want to talk about this large planning table that has been working for 3 years. I'll give you a sense of what it is, what they're doing, and where we're going, and also the opportunity for us to get input. And we have added actually recently the remote rural voice to our work. So the Government of Canada of Ontario identified lead agencies for children's mental health across Ontario. There were 33 in total, divided by 33 areas, and Phoenix Center was identified as a lead agency for Renfrew County. Each lead agency was set up a planning table around mental health and addictions for the child and youth population. And many of these areas, most of these areas, had other agencies which were also providing mental health or addiction services for children or youth. In Renfrew County, we're the only core service provider under the Ministry of Health funding. And so we took a different approach, as we often do in the county. And instead of looking at just children and youth, which then we're leading ourselves, we looked at trying to take an all ages approach. And we talked to stakeholders across the area on mental health, on addictions, from education, from public health, from all different jurisdictions, to pitch the idea of, instead of having a focus on just child and youth mental health, what about we take an all ages approach and try and make a more effective and efficient system for all ages across our county. And so that was unanimously supported by all the different stakeholders. Just a second, I'm just going to get rid of that phone. Never rings until you're busy with something else, right?
I was just going to say that, Greg. You had that happen yesterday too.
Exactly. Oh well. So we in the stakeholder meeting, there was unanimity in developing a planning table, but instead of having a planning table that was typical in most sort of jurisdictions of just getting the mental health agencies and the addiction agencies around the table to talk about how we can do better, we thought we would take the social determinants of health approach. We know that there are issues affecting mental health as well as physical health related to those social determinants: education, housing, employment, looking at your health status, access to primary care, et cetera, et cetera. And then we formed a table based on that. So we created 21 different sectors, and each of those sectors has 2 representatives sitting at this table. So addiction is a sector, adult services, children's services, community support. And you can see we've really been trying to look at bringing voices that are either directly providing service around mental health and addiction, or are impacted by mental health and addiction and would be potential referring agents, or like education, they do have some mental health services, but certainly their students are impacted and their teachers are impacted. So we've been meeting for 3 years. We started with a survey that we pushed through youth to service providers and to caregivers. And from that, we identified a number of priorities. There were 12 in all. And we decided not to try and work on all 12 because that was a recipe for not getting anything done, and selected the top 3, which were actually pretty parallel to what other areas across the province did. So first was integrated crisis response system focused on emergency rooms. Pathways to care, looking at the transition between services, was timely and client-centered, and access to getting anyone to the right door at the right time, based on there being a lot of confusion about where to go, who does what. Do you go to Phoenix Center? Do you go to Robbie Dean? Do you go to PMFRC? Do you go to Community Mental Health, etc.? And just to talk a little bit about those three systems. So the integrated crisis response system, we piloted with Pembroke Regional Hospital in a partnership, and with CHEO and with Community Mental Health Services and Addiction Services, a way that we would make sure that when individuals went into the emergency room for a mental health or addiction crisis, that they were connected to an organization coming out. So what we were finding is that before this, the majority of people were coming in, they were stabilized, they were demitted, and many would return a week later, a month later, 2 weeks later, and very few were actually referred to an organization, or if they were referred, there was no feedback back from the organization to the emergency room what had happened. So we created a system, and with the partnership, created a one-door approach from the emergency room, so that any primary care practitioner, doctor, or nurse who has a mental health crisis in the emergency room at Pembroke Regional, they get stabilized, and that goes then to the community mental health workers and their crisis team, who then, if it's 17 under, it gets pushed to us. If it's over 17, it either goes to them or to another agency in the county on a warm handover. We then, as an example, if we have a 14-year-old boy who was suicidal, goes into the Pembroke Regional, gets stabilized, we then would see that referral. That referral goes to community mental health. The next morning we would receive it, and we would then make contact with that family within 1 working day. We would offer our services, and if it's non-critical, it'd be within 3 working days we would make that contact. So there still are some who don't take that service, but about 60% accept working with the agency who has contacted them. Or if we find out that we weren't quite the right agency, we'll do a warm handover to the correct agency. And that does seem to be making a difference in the appearance of a mental health crisis, and also just feeling more comfortable at the emergency room that they're going to be connected somewhere. A key part of this program was giving the feedback back to the emergency room. So for us to say, you referred John, we connected with John, and he's now in our services. Or you referred John, we've tried to connect to John, the family's refused, or John's refused, or after 4 tries, we still can't get a hold of them, and so we're closing the case. So next time that if John appears again at the emergency room, they would see that record. And if there's 3 or more times that the person appears, we'll have sort of a huddle and figure out, is there a different way of doing things? So one different way would be the next time you're in a hospital, try and keep it in a hospital until the morning, and one of our workers would actually go over to the hospital and meet the individual, because sometimes breaking the ice in a face-to-face meeting can make a big difference. COVID got in the way of us pushing this out to the other 4 hospitals. And so one of our next agendas that we're starting to work on now, and hopefully in the fall, we will have this worked out, that the protocol we've developed with the Pembroke Regional will be adopted by the other hospitals, and we'll have that same system available right through. In access, we have 20 agencies whose intake workers meet on a regular basis every quarter to share who's doing what programs, services there are. And we have an agreement amongst all organizations that if a 21-year-old is referred to the Phoenix Center, or they walk in our door, that in the old days we would say, oh, here's a couple of numbers of agencies. We're not the right place. Good luck. Now we would say, we're not the right agency. Hang on. We're going to figure out where you need to go. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And then we would determine where the right place was, call that place to make sure they're the right place, and then have that person go over to that service. And then the last part is on pathways to care, trying to look at making sure there's not a gap. So if addiction is making a referral to us and they're stopping their service, they don't want to have the client to wait 3 months. So we're looking at basically jumping the queue when we have interagency or inter-service referrals being made. So this isn't quite finished yet because capacity is a big issue in a lot of organizations. So we're trying to make that transition as smooth and timely as possible. We did release a report card, and I did provide both a strategic plan to the council members, as well as our report card, which looks at the objectives that we set and what we met and what we haven't met. We were to create another strategic plan last year, but COVID again got in the way, and we have started that again. We'll be pushing out some surveys to youth, to service providers, to caregivers, and to adults with lived experience in mental health and addiction to see what they are seeing as our current system, what are the strengths, what are the issues, and we'll have some survey questions related to COVID and how that's impacting people and using virtual care. Our planning table has several work groups that have formed. One is on infant mental health. So we are concerned about having kids start off right. And we know that the first years of life make a big difference. Public health was leading that. And since COVID, we've not been able to have those meetings, but we'll get back on as soon as they're more available. Primary care pathways, we're working with the primary care sector to try to develop a smoother, a better relationship and better communication between primary care and community-based agencies, duplicating what we're doing for the hospital. So if a doctor makes a referral to us, and we need to get back to that doctor and say, yes, we have seen this client, or we are seeing this client, or no, we haven't connected, or they've dropped out of service, so that there is a integration in the health and the mental health care of individuals. We have a justice and mental health group, and their group was actually influential in getting the court mental health program back in Renfrew County. We will continue to work on looking at how in justice, we know that a large percentage of young people and adults involved in justice system have mental health and or addiction issues. And so we want to look at how do we, and we know that punishment doesn't work very well. The research is quite strong. It might just hide it from the community or get the person out of the community for a while, but they come back with those same issues. And so how do we refine or adjust some of what's happening before people are going into court or as a part of the court process to provide treatment and services. We have an apps working group, so looking at an app for finding services in Renfrew County very quickly. We have the Intake Access Community Practice, which connects all of our intake workers in the county. We have an eating disorders working group that is just formed because eating disorders is skyrocketing in terms of numbers and do tend to be sort of the 14 to 21, 14 to 24 age group. There are other ages, both male and female, but female in that particular age range is is most prevalent. And we want to have, and there's very little service available in the county. And we have a team that's developing some programming for them. And then we have just connected to the remote rural working group, of which Jennifer is a part of. And we feel this has been really important to give a voice to remote rural. We don't want the Pembroke and Petawawa and Renfrew tend to have better services. They're on that Highway 17, and it becomes like the Toronto of Renfrew County, or Toronto's of Renfrew County. And we have to remember the Douglases and the Cumbermeres and the Eganvilles. And there are other barriers and challenges around connectivity, around transportation, around infrastructure that we don't have the same similar issues in some of the larger centers. So that work is now taking place. This is about changing the system in Renfrew County, but there's also massive changes occurring regionally in the Champlain region and also provincially. One of the ones that has happened in the last 4 months is Access MHA, which is through the Royal Ottawa Hospital, and they focus on the 16 plus, and they now have a one-door system. If you don't know where to go, either as a referring agent or as a parent or as a youth or as a person who needs that help as an adult or senior, if you're not sure where to go in the county, you can call this, go to this website, and you will have an intake done there. There'll be some screening, and they will do what's called a service match. They will get you to the right place in the county. Kids come first, is a large conglomerate of child and youth service agencies, of which Phoenix is one. And they are looking at the younger age group. They go from birth to 21, so there's a bit of overlap with the adult system. And it's launching yesterday, and so there will be an access, a website and a phone number access. Again, if you're not sure where to go for a child service or youth service, you can call or go on the website. There'll be an intake. That intake will do a screening and will do the right service match. So that may come to us, or it could go to PMFRC if it's a military child, or if it's an adult, might go to one of with addiction, might go to addiction treatment service or the pathways. Again, depending on how strong the match is. We also, as you know, you're very involved in the applications taking place right now for the OHTs, Four Rivers, and Network 24, and those systems will be more integrated. And we're very much involved in the work that they're doing. In fact, for both of those, for Four Rivers, the primary first-year objective is mental health and addiction. And for Network 24, it's one of two of the first-year goals is on mental health and addiction. So there will be a lot of work coming out of the OHTs if they're approved. The meetings are taking place next week with the ministry to determine if they're going to approve the application. It may take some time before they actually finish that process. Anticipation is that they will be approved, whether now or shortly in the future, and that these integrated systems will also make a difference in healthcare and mental health. And then we've just started a partnership in the last 3 months with Jewish Family Services in Ottawa, who's been running virtual walk-ins and in-person walk-ins for about 8 years, to create an integrated virtual walk-in. We don't have our in-office walk-ins operating right now because of COVID, but we really felt the idea of a walk-in was good. Virtual seems to fit for a lot of people. And so right now, every Thursday from 12 to 6, individuals can access a one door for walk-in, and we have it integrated with, if someone needs help, they'll be navigated to either the adult mental health worker who's on walk-in, or the child and youth mental health worker, or the addiction worker. So again, trying to make it simpler for those who need to use the system, not to have to figure out which door to go in. So between the Access MHA and One Call, One Click, and they will actually be coming together in one body to have just one number for the two of them, and then behind the doors they'll navigate to the right one. So for the general public or for referring agent, you actually won't see two doors. That exists right now as they work it out. So much more efficiency in terms of those systems changes that are coming to place. Counseling Connect is another regional single session system that is running in Ottawa, and the county is looking at how we might be able to connect with them, and it will add access to different languages as well as access to different cultures, which we often don't have capacity for within the county. The Eating Disorders Peer Support Group is about to start. Structured psychotherapy has been in the county for about 2 years, and it is run by Community Mental Health Service, and it is another access to being able to get mental health care for adults with anxiety, depression. And we have been selected we're one of 8 pilots in the province to do a structured psychotherapy for children and youth. So this will add some capacity for the county to provide some care for children and youth anxiety and depression as well. Some of the challenges. Yeah.
Excuse me there, Greg. I know we started a couple minutes late, so I'll give you a couple extra minutes here.
Okay. Thank you.
If we can, okay.
I'll talk a little faster.
Okay.
So just quickly, challenges, our capacities challenge everywhere. Recruitment, like primary care, anybody with specialty skills, hard to get. Communication, big county, lots of things going on, and getting communication out to make sure everybody knows everything is a challenge. And data collection, we all have different data collection systems, and so comparing apples to apples is very difficult. And that's it.
Okay, any questions for Greg?
Merv? Yes.
Just wondering, are you still providing services to youth at the Family Health Team Clinic in Eganville?
We are not, but they're, I think that's Robbie Dean was doing that, and they're not doing in office right now, I do not believe. But it will come
Okay.
back, and those individuals would be able to use our virtual walk-in. But you probably, here's the thing is, even though we sent stuff out, a lot of you probably don't know that. You know, so how did that communication system, especially in the remote rural areas, is broken. It's not good.
Jennifer, you had a question, comment?
Thanks, Tim, and thank you so much for that, Greg. I think that that certainly speaks to all the hard work that your planning table has done. And I just want to reiterate in the 21 stakeholders, remote and rural is now one of them, thanks to Greg bringing on Allison Collins and Carol Devine to that planning table. So one of the things going forward with our RIM High is going to be that low tech communication piece that Greg just spoke about. We recognize that not everybody has great internet access or are perhaps not in the know. So we will be sending out some sort of postcard with some information to let people know these are the places that you can go. It does not depend on your internet, but I have to tell you guys, once again, Greg has been just an incredible asset to our grassroots movement here, along with Brenda Powers-Ross from Whitewater and Megan Jameson from the West Champlain Family Health Team. We are moving along very quickly. It is going very well. We are, in fact, now redoing our terms of reference because, as you know from Ian's report, we are working on very old census material, which is unfortunate, but that's what we have. And as we spoke about yesterday in our meeting, we recognize, as Greg said earlier, that coming out of COVID, we are going to see some very serious mental health issues. In fact, the Canadian government reported last week that 52% of Canadians are actually having anxiety about returning to the normal work, normal school, normal grocery shop. So that's something that we're taking into consideration as well. So Greg, thank you so much for all your hard work. Thanks.
Thanks. I'll send you $20 tomorrow.
Okay, any other comments or questions for Greg? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Are you providing a service to Maple Leaf fans today?
Yeah, grief counseling is available.
I'll call you later, Greg.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Greg.
Thank you. Take care, all.
Take care. Okay, I see Daryl's on deck. If Daryl, you want to come ahead on, it is time for you to give us your update. Daryl, if you're there.
Hang on. Where am I?
I'm Larry.
I just want to say that Daryl's report is on 2 pages, but it really could have been on 1. I'm just saying.
I want to know if everything is good in the waterworks. There he is. Good day, Daryl. You're on mute now, Daryl.
Okay. So in my report, there's not too much stuff, but we did have our audit. And I didn't put much in there because it wasn't finished at the time that I did my report. But we had a few bumps in the road, and probably next month when we get everything straightened around, we'll fill you in on what's going on. But I think it's nothing that we can't fix. And I guess another big thing is Cody got his enough of his credits now that he can go ahead and get his next license. And that's a big thing for us over there. Every 3 years, we have to have a lot of hours. So, and on the sewage side, What do we got here? Dave had a very large course too, so he's caught up for his 3 years. We put a new pump in the digester and some new fans and stuff like that to try and help with the odor around there. And I had forgot to put it on there, but we did turn on or open up the RV dumping station. So it's good to go for anybody that wants to use it. So
Good to hear.
that's about it.
Any comments or questions for Daryl? Jennifer?
Just congrats to Cody and to Dave Loader. That's fantastic. Good on them.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Love
Especially-
professional
especially
development.
now. So that only leaves me. So.
Okay, well, if that's it, Daryl, well, thanks very much. And I know you know how to leave a cliffhanger there. Tune in next month for Daryl's
That's
report.
right.
You did a good job at that for sure. We'll be anxiously waiting to see your report there, Daryl.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Okay, is Jason on deck, Annette? No, Jason. It is 2 o'clock and
Yeah, I'll send him a text. Maybe this is not, yeah, I don't know where he is. Talked to him this morning,
okay.
but I can cover some of the other additions that we had if you want.
Sure. Go ahead, Annette. If we have time, we'll wait on Jason.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the two additions that the mayor was speaking about earlier in the meeting, along with the moment of silence, was one had to do with a cannabis production facility that has been proposed on Sebastopol Road. We had to wait to get some more information from their consultants, and we've gotten it back now. We've got our county planning report. I can share that with council if you'd like to see it be further ahead of the June 22nd meeting than when we would normally send it out, because normally we would just send it out the week before, but I can send it to you after this meeting if you like. And I did send it around to some department heads just to get some comments for that building itself, but it is coming forward on June 22nd. It was advertised in the Eganville Leader. It was sent out to adjacent property owners. We haven't received any comments to date, but as you know, this could be, it's a contradictory subject when you're talking about cannabis. Some people are happy to have a facility and employment and stuff going on. It's all contained inside the building, so it's not an outside growing or selling facility. So that's going to help things with odor and other concerns, but that'll be coming forward to the public meeting for council's consideration. So I can send you the whole file, and then you'll be very well prepared for the 22nd if there's questions or comments or concerns raised by residents. But to this date, we haven't had any. Is there anything else that you want to know about that?
I would really appreciate that, Annette. I think that, this is going to be a conversation with some of our residents in Floymount, and I'd like to be more prepared than less. Thank you very much.
Yes, no problem. Oh, and there's Jason there now.
Okay, I'm just going to take 1 second here, guys. I'm going to plug my laptop in. I see that that's into the computer, but not into the walls. So.
Annette, I'd appreciate if you forwarded that to me as well on the.
I'll send it out to all of council.
I know because it is the ward that I'm right now, I guess, responsible for.
For sure. And normally when we go through those processes, we do send it out to council the week before the meeting is coming forward. But as notice has gone out, council could be receiving calls from ratepayers, and it's a little bit more than a normal rezoning. So one of those things that I should have sort of guessed at, but I didn't. And anyway, the mayor was good to get some questions and then let me know, pass on the information. So I will absolutely do that.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jason, how are you doing?
Good, good. How's everybody else doing?
Good here.
Good. Okay, number one, summer hours at the waste sites have started on the long weekend, as well as the hazardous waste has been opened as well. So the last 2 weekends have been very busy. People have stored a lot of hazardous materials over the winter, and it's bulking up pretty quick. Good to go? Okay.
Good.
Just if I may, Mr. Chair, Jason, I think that's fantastic. I would rather the HHW be busier and know that people are not putting things in garbage bags.
Yep, seems to be working well.
That's great.
No, just for public clarification, why is that way?
Tim,
I'm just gonna put you in the
just
waiting
let
room
her
and bring
put
you
you
back.
in the waiting room.
Sorry.
So that was a really worthwhile thing to open up, eh, Jason?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, how's that? Is everybody okay? Okay, so just for public or anybody new to the area or clarification, can we tell the public why we only have the hazardous waste in the summertime? And not the winter?
Every hazardous waste is closed other than OB, I believe.
Okay, just for a matter of us not being able to get rid of it in the winter months.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess some products freeze.
That's the other issue too, Merv.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay. We have also scheduled to have the Canada flag banner over the bridge the first week of June installed. And the summer banners and flags will also be put up to have everything ready for the long weekend again, July.
That's fantastic. I see a lot of other municipalities have got theirs up already and they're on the go. So yeah, it's great to see ours coming on soon.
You get some water. Okay, see you later. Talk to you later. Okay.
Number 3, we have been applying calcium to the roads. Everything is so dry that it's creating a lot of complaints, and so we're putting the calcium down as we can get it. The company is very, very busy that we deal with, and well, in the next 2 weeks we'll have another 2 loads down, so that'll help things out quite a bit. Number 4, the catch basins have been pumped in Eganville and in Foymount. We will discuss issues on Tranquility Bay. I've spoken to the lady that's looking after everything at Pikwakanagan. It seems like they have moved the barriers, so I don't know what happened.
Go ahead.
The last time.
Thanks, and thank you, Jason, for dealing with this. I did hear back from 2 of our residents that in fact the barriers have been removed. And I want to thank you publicly for taking this on. I know that this is sort of outside of your scope, but I know that the last time that you were dealing with the road super there and with the powers that be, that it worked out very well. So thank you on behalf of the residents of Tranquility Bay.
No problem. Thank you. I also have 2 other issues that are not issues that I would like to talk about. The speed sign data off of Highway 41. When we put it on Alice Street, the speeding, there was quite a few people speeding in that 50 zone. The OPP has the data and they are going to be monitoring that area.
One other thing there, Jason, are you talking about when you have it set up right across from the school?
Yes.
So now, and there again, I come up to the stop sign and where 50 zone starts, our speed sign was already catching and flashing prior to the people getting to that 50 zone.
Actually, Tim, the 50 zone is out past
Terry's,
Fairfield's entrance.
Yes, past Terry Colors there.
Yes. Yeah, so
And,
it
and it
was,
was already picking it up there.
yes,
So until they're into the 50 zone, technically they do not have to be doing 50, correct?
no, but I went and made sure that it was reading where it should have been, and to me, it was fine. They were in the 50 zone already.
Before it was picking up, because like I say, when I seen some early morning, because I'm always in that intersection.
Yep.
They hadn't quite got into that basically line in the sand yet, and it was already going off. So that's the only concern I have about and not saying I don't want more people checking. That's a school zone or school area. Absolutely. I don't want to see people speeding there. That's not the case whatsoever. The thing is, if they are doing 80 in the 80 and it's picking it up as they're in the 50 already, it kind of leans the other way, if you catch my drift.
Yep.
So I don't know if we have to get it further into the 50, or you know what I mean? So it's not picking up, because legally they're allowed to do it up until the 50 sign. So I just don't want to have our numbers going the wrong way either.
No, that's right. Okay.
Okay, Jen?
I was going to present this in my mayor's report, but I should probably say it now just in case Jason isn't aware. The county has actually purchased a speed sign for county roads. So if we have a county road that we're hearing about, Jason can actually phone the county and ask for the speed sign to be put out. I know years ago there was a problem on Grattan Road, and I will tell you, since the reconstruction outside of my house, I got out to get the mail yesterday, and somebody in a pickup truck blew by me at least 110. So if we're finding that we get, now, of course, once you get half a kilometer from my house, all of a sudden, it's a screeching halt. But if we hear from residents, we can ask Jason to ask Lee Perkins to deploy the speed sign from the county, which I think is fantastic.
Great. So I have one other topic I'd like to talk about. I had a phone call from some residents that live in town, and they were helping one of their daughters, I believe, pick garbage in another township, and they've taken it upon themselves to start picking garbage along the roadways in Bontra Valley. So I've supplied them with some garbage bags, and whenever they collect enough garbage, I told them we would come and pick it up. So that's something really great for us. Like, it helps keep the township clean, and it's very respectful for them to be doing that. Their names are Grant and Susan Owen. They live just down from the office. So I'd like to just.
If I might say something, Jason, I hope that type of action becomes very contagious, because that's great to hear. That's really great to hear people doing that. I'm glad that you're going along with that. Go ahead, Jen.
I heard that was going on. I happen to know them, and they are real champions in Bonashir Valley. So a huge shout out to them. And yes, I couldn't agree with Tim more. I think, there was the editorial. It actually went a line in the Eganville Leader 2 weeks, but last week in the Eganville Leader, talking about cleaning up and making sure our municipalities look as pristine as they can, especially considering we're going into a pretty heavy tourist time if all goes well with COVID, and we want to put our best foot forward. So that's wonderful. In my next Ask Mayor Murphy, Annette, I think we make Grant and Susan our hometown heroes. Just fantastic initiative. Guys, it is now almost 2:15. So Mr. Chair, if I just do the countdown here, if we could all mute and bow our heads for a moment of silence for the 215 souls that were found. Thank you. Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jen. That's great to put forward for sure. Okay, Jason, anything else on your list of things?
He's on mute.
Sorry. No, I have nothing else, Tim.
Thanks very much, Jason. So, Merv?
Jason, the old plug culvert on the railroad line has raised its head again. The one where off of Golden Mile Way, where 2017, we installed a new culvert beside the old one. And I had a look yesterday. It looks like the old one is overgrown with alders and whatnot. So if you're in the neighborhood with a hole sometime. And of course, the duck pond ones, both of them are plugged now. But
Okay. All right, sounds good, Merv. We'll get out there and look after them. Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks very much, Jason. Hopefully you get out there and enjoy the weather. And by the looks of the dust, it's going to get worse next week. It's supposed to be 34, 35, and believe it or not, there's a lot of high temperatures. So a little bit of rain to get that stuff activated would be nice too, right?
Yeah, we've been watering behind.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Take care.
Okay, so we have Dave on deck, our fire chief. Dave, if you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Love to hear from you.
Okay, so April was a fairly busy month for us. I think the most motorcycle accidents we've had in years, in 1 month. So it just goes to show you, one was an animal and one was a vehicle. So the safety messages, especially from the OPP about motorcycle awareness on the highways is very important one for people to get. So I guess the two big things I want to do, everything else seems to be going okay. We're doing all of our annual maintenance and annual inspections and whatnot for equipment and apparatus and whatnot. Everything seems to be working out just fine. Everything's in good shape. My biggest couple of things I wanted to go over. I assume everybody's aware that the provincial grant, the $5,500 was received. I wasn't aware of that at our last meeting, but then I was told by Annette that it has been. So we are currently working very hard with APX data being onboarded into their system. And I thank Annette for all of her help with this. And the county has helped us as well with getting all the information they need to customize the software program for our township. So things seem to be going well. The company's really great to work with. And I think once it's done and we're familiar with it, I'd like to do kind of a presentation to council about the features of it and what it's about and what it allows us to do as far as our pre-planning and inspections in the township. So I think it'll be something to get us all on the cloud as opposed to being bogged down with paper, which we've done for years and years. We've done inspections where you have a 6-inch stack of paper with forms and notes and all that kind of stuff. So it'll all be virtual, all be on the cloud. So, and it's all secure. So I think that'll be a great place for us to be. I'm hoping in the next few months we'll be actually inputting and building on the program. So, which will be nice. The second thing, Foymount Fire Hall. Did anybody have any questions about the drawings or the estimate? I know the estimate is more or less a general contractor estimate. It's not a fine item by item estimate, but it gives council a pretty good idea of where we're looking as far as money or dollar wise. So yeah, I think the drawings look great, and I think to be able to take that building and make it look like almost like a new building. I think it'll serve us well for sure up there, I believe.
I see Jen had.
Yeah, I think the drawings are brilliant, but correct me if I'm wrong in that. Does this not have to go out for RFP?
Yes, I think it's still expected to go out to tender. It was just, we were trying to get an estimate for budget for 2022. And then if council supports it in 2022, then we will have to put something out for tender moving forward. So,
Well, it's certainly going to pretty up that building. The drawings are wonderful. Thank
And
you.
Brent, you had something to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, no, the drawings look pretty good and stuff, and the costs and stuff kind of makes sense for what they're looking at doing. I guess the only question so for electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and anything else, Dave, will that be pretty much part of when we go to tender it out? Like, what are your needs for for your plumbing? So like, because my understanding, are we not updating the bathroom at the same time?
I believe we are, and our plumbing need would obviously be like water inside, a wash basin, maybe like a hand wash station, hose, wash hoses. Drains are our biggest challenge right now. So that would be plumbing would have the drain with the drain repair on the one side and install on the second side. That's what we'd be looking at there. This just so. I know the mayor talked about putting it out to RFP. The drawings, all this stuff was paid for. So it wasn't like there's no expectation with this. It was, we paid for the service to get an estimate. We paid for the service to get drawings and whatnot. So, and that's been taken care of. So however council wants to go forward in the next couple of years or the next year, that'll, have to go out to RFP obviously. But so back to that, the HVAC would be whatever heating system we're going to use, whether it be radiant or forced air or whatever the best thing is in a large building like that. Maybe a suspended propane garage furnace kind of thing. And then so the estimate was literally for the shell, the structure and the shell, right? And then everything on the inside is going to be over and above that. So we would definitely need an accurate estimate for that stuff going forward.
Dave, now with the stuff that's on the inside existing, with the expansion of that building, would the stuff that's already there still be usable at the time of the expansion is my question. Because right now where that number sits, we are probably less than the price of a tandem plow truck, right? So when you look at what the years of expectedness out of that building up there, it far exceeds anything like that. And if, I was expecting a lot more, but if it's in that neck of the woods, it's a very, I think, viable thing to do. And it's the right thing to do for that area, right? So definitely a wise investment, I think, on our part as council for Boncher Valley. Because that we're looking at something that's going to, far exceed, hopefully 40 years or better because of the structure, the material that's there, unless somebody in a long distance future decides we, don't need to use something like that. We're definitely going to get a bang for our buck out of that type of building. So, no, I hope that, if we're going on that route that we definitely do it right now. I seen Jennifer, then Jack, and then Brent.
Thanks, Tim. So it sounds like we are in favor of this and the pricing seems good. Obviously, right now is not the best time to put out an RFP for any building supplies, but I'm wondering, in light of going forward with budget as soon as possible in 2022, should we maybe revisit this in, say, September, October, and perhaps put it out for RFP prior to the 2022 year so that we do know exactly what Tim's just talking about. Like, we should know what the HVAC needs are going to be and what the best pricing is. And the plumbing, obviously, that drain is very, very, very important. We don't want to be washing fire trucks outside in the winter. So I'm just wondering from council if this is something that we should definitely table to a September, October meeting when things hopefully will simmer down and perhaps get the chief to do an RFP at that point.
Council for an answer for that?
Did Jack want?
Yep. No, I just wanted to know if anybody wanted to answer Jen's question while she presented it. I think it's a good idea to have another quote passed forward. Everybody in favor of that? Good, thumbs up, and then we'll go to Jack and then to Brent. So, sounds good, Dave, so we can go ahead and get on that between you and Annette, that'll be super.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
Jack?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Dave, just looking at the plans in here. So I guess this still involves and incorporates the use of the county using their plow truck in it? Is this how this is going to go? Or, because right now they're using the back end of the building, or you just, I'm assuming that's what this incorporates, right? Our township garage and the county plow in the back?
I lost you, Jack, on that. I didn't hear any of that.
We didn't hear any of it? No?
No.
Okay, just the drawings that's laid out, does that incorporate the use with the county using the, because currently right now they use the back end of that garage, right?
That's right. So if you look at this, the sort of the, when you drive up to the place, the front part, there's going to be one entrance there, one man door. So as they walk into there, then they can walk, or say Jason, if Jason needs to go up there for the office or whatnot, he walks in the front door and then he goes to the right on the inside of the addition into the works side.
Okay, and the works will have access coming out the rear then, or? the front of the
No,
rear house?
just they'll have the same access, right? They'll have, you mean the trucks?
Yeah, the trucks.
Their side of the building, it won't be changed at all.
Oh, you're not changing it?
No, just the fire department side.
On the drawings, yeah, you can see that it's the same access point as where it is. It exits basically down the mountain still.
Yeah. Is their side of the building still viable, or is that something we should look at while we're doing the whole thing?
Well, when Mark and I and Jason were up there, Mark didn't seem to have any issues with that side of the building. Jason doesn't seem to have any issues with it as well. It serves its purpose. And I believe it's all steel. And he doesn't seem to have any issues there. The only thing that I was going to, and we can talk about this down the road, but there is an office there that I would love to incorporate, because that's not used. I think there's a few parts in it that we could incorporate if we knocked a wall down to make it part of our training room, to make our training room a little bit bigger after this is done. But that can be addressed down the road. It's not something that's important right now.
I'm just thinking, if we're looking at it, if there's any work that could be done, it could be incorporated at the same time, right?
Okay, yeah.
Contractor in there, instead of doing like in a two-step type session.
Yeah.
Because the garage is still being used by the county and they pay rental for it so much for the truck up there to clear the mountain. So it's just something, if anything needs to be done, like electrical or anything inside, that should be addressed at the same time, I would think. They could just keep it separate for budgetary purposes.
And it would be nice to see as well if there was any efficiency as far as heating or lighting efficiency grants or anything that we can. I think there's something with LED lighting. If we switch to LED lighting, that we could maybe incorporate that in the whole building while this addition's being built. Something like that might be worthwhile looking into.
Well, there's probably a few options that could be looked at that might help to cover some of the costs. And you're probably going to get enhancement for very little money, right? And that's all. I just want to make sure that's looked at. That's all.
Okay.
Brent, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if we're looking at doing this in 2022, we should be looking at looking a little more seriously sooner than later. And the reason I say that is, like, for example, like trusses, when you're ordering them 2 months ago, like when I was ordering them, I ordered them for September, October, November already. So like what I'm saying is that like a lot of things I'm sure the contractors you're dealing with will hopefully have some, say, trusses lined up or whatnot. But what I'm saying is that, especially how I think like supply is going to go over the next year, I think we should almost be looking at this a little faster. Doesn't mean that we have to do it, but I think we should get all our ducks in a row over this summer. And I think we should, I think sooner than later. So like, I would be happy to do when we're all able to do an on-site meeting at some point to really narrow down all these factors and everything for it, just to go over some stuff in person. So like Dave, you're talking about blowing out a wall and the one thing, yeah, 100%. If it makes sense, we might as well do it when we're doing everything as a whole. If we gotta update the bathrooms to bring it up, yeah, 100%, let's do it. But I'd rather get started earlier in the 2022 versus later, especially because the more we delay it, it's not like it's going to get faster. Just look at our tandem truck we ordered, or look at anything that's coming over the border or even getting manufactured right now. It's been hit or miss over the last while. It's not like construction or anything slowed down. So I don't know. I would like to get narrow, like the heating. So like, let's figure out our heating options. Plumbing's kind of straightforward. But no, I think, and then maybe we'll end up doing you can do it all in electrical. I don't know. But I like to figure that out probably sooner than later. So, and then if we at some point can schedule an on-site meeting, I think it'd be beneficial because you can look at it all as a team, or we can all drive by individually and look at it and be like, all right, what is the cost if we actually ended up putting a new metal sheathing around the whole building so it all blends together, because you have, say, development that potentially at the 140 Mount site there for the marijuana facility. So the thing is like stuff's happening. So if we do our part, making it look nicer, then I think it could go a long ways, especially in that community. So I would just say maybe we should look at this a little sooner than later.
I agree with you 110% on that, Brent. As far as it goes with manufacturing and shortages and delays, I waited a month on a muffler for a chainsaw from a brand name chainsaw. Their things aren't coming in as they once were, and the things that are taking a long time to get. So a little proactive planning is probably going to go a long way. So definitely so if we're considering this going ahead. And one other thought to ponder too is maybe have Mark look at everything through and through, and anything that does have to be updated when we're doing a vast improvement. It's probably the time to do it, with the whole building rather than just the addition. I'm in total agreement with that. Bring it up to make it right again, or up to standards of 2022 rather than, when it was built. Jennifer, go ahead.
Okay, so I also agree with Brent, and of course I'm not in the construction biz, so I'm not as in the know as he is. And I know that even getting the trusses for our garage here was it was a feat. So it sounds like this council is willing to beg, borrow, steal, and find grants to make this this upgrade happen in the 2022 budget year, no matter what. Is that what I'm hearing? Because if that's the case, I mean, we could do a site visit as early as, say, August, and then have the RFPs go out and see what the truss situation is, and steel cladding, and even the tradespeople, what their schedules are for the 2022 year. I think if we've decided on this, and this was this was one of our biggest projects going forward, knowing that a new fire truck or even a refurbished large fire truck would not fit in that building. And as it stands right now, they have to do the Jenga of fire truck movement to get them in and out. I think, let's do it. I think by say August, we should be able to meet in person.
Just 1 second there, Brent. Annette, what's our August date, if you don't mind us, for council? Do we have that set yet? I believe we do.
I want to say it's the 18th or the 11th or something.
I was just looking at that. So
17th.
August 17th. So Dave, I know everything goes
Hang
fast.
on, Mr. Chair, the 17th is during AMO.
No, what I'm saying is, so that's our council meeting, so we can't have the council meeting on an AMO
Sorry.
date. So are we moving that date then?
I thought we already did. I thought at the beginning of the year, hang on just a sec, Mr. Chair.
Sure we did.
Yes, we did. We moved it to the 24th because August is a week month. So we put it off 1 week.
So my recommendation to the rest of council would be to do our site visit, a week or two prior, whenever it works for everybody. to get up there because we're getting very close to September at our next council meeting for discussion. And that's putting us very close to, you know, less than 6 months prior to where we started our budget stuff. So if, you know, the way things are going, go ahead there, Jen.
Do we maybe want to go the morning of our first August meeting, which would be the 3rd?
Are we doing 2 August meetings?
No, we only have one in August.
We usually do one in July and one in August, right?
So
Then Annette, did we schedule our August meeting for the 10th?
That's where I thought we either scheduled it for the 11th or the 18th, or the 2 dates in my head, but if Sandra's saying the 17th, then we maybe didn't move it to avoid AMO, but we can move it. But should we move it to the 10th then instead of the 24th?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do the 10th, guys. And then we're not so close to September as Tim just mentioned.
Well, and like I say, I love summer and I love how things go, but we all know it's a season that blows by quicker than the speed of light. So it's it's one of those things where it's better to be a little bit ahead of the game on something like this. And it's a big investment for the community, right? So we want to make sure we have everything kind of lined up for sure. So August the 10th, do we want to do a site visit then, Dave?
Yep.
Now, we would get maybe Mark and Jason on that as well.
Yep.
That would be very, you know, helpful with our decisions in that. So what do we say, 9 o'clock, August the 10th up at Plymouth Hall?
We'll make it work.
Everybody okay with that? Can I get a thumbs up?
Yep.
Okay, now, sorry about that. Brent, I think you had another.
Nope, I just wanted to confirm just a date for us to do a site visit. So that's what we just did. So that's all I was going to comment on.
Kind of nice when we're kind of on the same page. Good. There. You got everything there, Annette, for Jason and Mark's notification? Perfect. Okay, Dave?
So the only thing I got to add.
Sorry, Chief.
Sorry.
Tim, did you say 9 or 10?
I said 9, if that's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah, I'm putting it in my calendar. Thank you.
I was going to make a mean joke and wake you up on my way by when shoot the horn.
I get-
or something like that. Dave laughed, so guilty. Sorry. Order. Okay. Brent, go ahead, Brent.
Oh, nothing. But I was going to say, is this a project that we want to do all in like one go, or do we want to have 2 phases of it? So, for example, do all your groundwork in your foundation and then contract out, say, your framing component, your sheathing, all that separately. Is this something that we generally do in one stages as a municipality, or do we do it in 2 just because it's not very hard, I guess, to find concrete guys versus one? That's all I'm saying. So that's, I guess, my question to council.
Murph?
I don't know exactly how much concrete work there is, but I have a lot of difficulty with leaving concrete forming exposed over winter. If you're gonna pour the footings, build on it.
Hi, Jen.
Would our site visit give us better clarity on that?
Yeah, we can discuss it at the site. It was just something to think about. It's just something to go over.
Yeah, I definitely think Jason and Mark should be there, though. If we're talking about going into the roads department and taking out that office, is it something that Jason's okay with? Definitely, I think if we're doing electrical, let's look at the electrical in the entire building. It doesn't make sense to bring in an electrician to one panel and then come back to it. So I think to Brent's point, yeah, I think the site visit might give us better clarity on phases or doing it all in one shot. It's also about borrowing power, right? Depending on what interest rates are with Infrastructure Ontario at that time. We may want to split it into a few years or 2 years, or if Infrastructure Ontario rates are as they are right now, we might want to just get it done. So I think that that's another consideration for us moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Everybody clear? Good. Okay, Dave.
The last thing I wanted to bring up was burn ban situation. I know I've received some emails from our neighbors that people are really considering a ban situation shortly if we don't get any rain, especially with the hot temperatures coming. It's very dry out there, and the wind, I don't know why it's been so windy over the last week, but the wind and the warmth has really dried things out. So if we don't get significant rain, I think by mid next week, which we're forecast for, I think we're going to have no choice but to go back to a level 1 ban. You know, we're in our MNRF reports I get daily. We are right now, all of our indices are in extreme. So the fact that it's greened up is beneficial for us, and we don't have a ton of forest like say Greater Madawaska or Madawaska Valley. So I'm not so concerned about a forest incident, but I think it would be prudent to do it if we don't get rain over the next 7 days, I think.
Okay, thanks,
That's it
Dave.
for me.
I just comment, maybe one saving grace is the fact that campgrounds aren't open yet, so you're not going to be worrying about campfires, right? Or not,
right.
shouldn't be worrying too many of them right yet.
Yeah.
Jen?
Mr. Chair, before the chief leaves, can we talk about Canada Day?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
For
you,
sure.
kind sir. So again, this is going to be something in my mayor's address. As I've mentioned over and over and over again, the one thing I've asked the province not to do is to change the rules on a Friday afternoon. And in fact, they changed the rules on a Thursday afternoon at 4:15, which, you know, at least we were able to get some communication out. However, on the Friday at 4:13, they changed the rules with regards to the splash pad, which meant that our recreation staff had to go out on the Saturday of a long weekend to ensure that our Eganville splash pad was open. At this point, I'm saying I think we go ahead with Canada Day. I think we put in measures. You know, the beach is open, so people can physically distance at the beach. People can sit in their vehicles. I am not recommending that we close the bridge. That caused a lot of work for Recreation and Roads last year. I think if people will, they can watch them virtually. I think we've got lots of different platforms in which people can enjoy the fireworks. And it would be my recommendation that we ask the fire department respectfully to make this happen. Thank you.
I totally support that, Jen. Sounds great to me. Anybody else?
Likewise.
Okay, Murph,
Yep.
Brent? Jack?
Yep, I support it.
Absolutely.
I'm in agreement.
Canada Day is Canada Day. Okay, Annette?
Yeah.
Thanks. I just, that's great. So I will let Kevin and Jason know that we're not doing the bridge closure and that we will post lots and lots of physical distance, wear your mask, stay outside, stay away, all that kind of stuff for the health unit. My only question is regarding the virtual. Are we going to be contacting somebody else to do some of the virtual filming, or are we doing it in-house, which doesn't always look as great as if we hire somebody else with the equipment to do so? And I know that was not super expensive last year. So I just want direction there.
If we have the equipment to do it in-house, and we have, I think if
We have the equipment to do it in-house, but it's not going to be very pretty because our equipment is very low tech. So if you want it done really nicely, we should hire it out. If you want a low tech version done, I can certainly, take the laptop or something to the beach or to the bridge and hold it up and film it. And we can have a little Canada Day before and after. We can maybe even ask somebody to come out and sing for us on the laptop, but it'll be more similar to the Remembrance Day ceremony where, the quality is less. It won't be as nice as, remember the Christmas holiday one that sort of was put together for BV was very professional. So that's all whatever council decides is fine. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, go ahead there, Jim.
So I think considering we had more than 1,500 views of our fireworks last year, I think that, you know, for the money, it's well worth having somebody do them semi-professionally. And I should have qualified my statement, Mr. Chair, that my fear is that we'll cancel fireworks, and then on June 30th, they'll say, oh yeah, you can have fireworks now. So that was my lead up was going to that. And I got all flustered there. Yeah, I think Annette did her best at Remembrance Day, but what others have done for us in the past, I think it's worth the couple of bucks to get it done.
Well, to add to that, Jen, in a world where the government doesn't know right from wrong in 2 days in a row, it's kind of hard for us to plan anything as it is. So I think we have to be a little bit more proactive and just go with what we do. And we did a great job last year. Everything went good. And I think if that's the trend we want to keep, I think we better follow what we did last year. As far as it goes, people can, you know, be in their cars or whatever it may be and watch the fireworks. As far as putting a pile of money into, or not a pile of money, but any extra money into, you know, the online stuff, I hope that we're not into that situation yet on the 1st of July after seeing our friends to the south being able to do so many things. I hope that, you know, we kind of go on the upward trend of what's happening in the rest of the world, and we're able to actually go and watch some fireworks, you know, safely and such. So that's my take on it. So let's go ahead with Canada Day. And Brent, do you had something to say or add to that?
No, I was just going to say we can just carry forward with what we did last year. I'm fine with that, and then we'll just move forward. Let's have some fireworks, and I know there's a lot of people are looking forward to watching it online and from in their cars or from some of their houses, and there's lots of places to go and to park and to watch them. And there's a lot of people, and there's few things that a lot of people are excited for, and I'm just looking forward to some kids and seniors being able to go and watch it. So that's my comments.
Jack, did you have something?
Yeah, just we're spending the money to do the fireworks, and that's what we're all in agreement to do. I would think would be a shame to task that with Annette to do the online stuff. I'm in agreement that the cost isn't substantial to do it, get it done semi-professional so it looks professional for the people viewing it online. That's what I believe should be done.
Oh, sounds good, Jack. Merv?
I agree. It's not going to break the bank to do it professionally. It's only going to happen once a year. It's only going to happen once a year.
I think you've got your direction there, Annette. You can go ahead and get someone to do it online in a professional manner. Everybody good? So you caught that, Chief?
I got it. So the guys are raring to go.
That's good. That's good. I always like to see good fireworks on Canada Day. I'm looking forward to them for sure.
Light up the sky. Light up the sky.
And you know what? If it's anything like last year, I'm sure that the word has gotten out because it was absolutely amazing. And even if you come close to what you guys did last year, we'll be very satisfied.
Yeah, I think it'll be better.
Fabulous.
Yeah, I think the plan will be better. Yeah, we're.
Oh my.
Caleb's gonna do another little modernization with a little bit more electronics, and we'll have more fireworks this year as well. So I think it'll be good. And the supplier down, I think in Belleville, there, Mystical, they actually talked to Caleb. They were asking him, you know, there was a rumor that there a rogue department up in the Ottawa Valley was shooting fireworks last year. Caleb said that might be us. That might have been us. Yeah.
Well, you know, and it's probably a good trend to start, especially for all of Renfrew County, because there's certain pockets and municipalities in the area that were known to have the best fireworks, right? So I think it's up to us to set the bar here, because I know I'm not going to mention any names of any very local communities, how they would always promote, that they had the best fireworks going, and you know what, there was some darn good shows. But I'm going to tell you, last year it's going to take a pretty good show to outdo Bon Valley, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that was really good. That was really good. And we'll see if anybody else has the gumption, let's say, to try and get past. So thanks
Yeah.
very much, Dave. We really look forward to Caleb's efforts, and I'm sure
absolutely.
they'll be definitely paying off for us. So
Yeah.
thank you.
The only thing I want to add, I'd like to ask, are we going to consider a rain date if it's a bad day that day?
I think July 1st is a really good one. Is everybody good with July 1st as a rain date? Everybody's great with July 1st as a rain date. You know what? We're Canadian. We go through blizzards, right? And we withstand all types of different types of weather. You know, a week ago we had snow on the ground, and we're going to plus 36 tomorrow. So I'm sure a few raindrops will be okay, unless it's a tornado warning or something like that. Absolutely.
It's not for the people, not for the people. It's for the bangy things.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
So if it's pouring rain that day, we won't be able to shoot, right?
Yeah.
No.
Annette?
I think that when we apply for the federal money, we have to give them a rain date. I think that's mandatory. So I can certainly supply you with that date. It's usually as close to the date as possible. And I don't know that we've ever had to use it, but we do. I think they require one, or they won't give you funding.
We did have to use it once because it was the windiest bloody day. There was no way they could have been shot off.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I want to thank all of council and the chief for your support in this. I know that it sounds like a bit of civil disobedience, but I'm sure that you can all sense my frustration, with what's happened over the last few long weekends where the rules change in the middle of the game. And then Annette has to very kindly ask our staff to change their plans. So I wanted to iron this out so that there's no misgiving. We're doing them on the 1st, unless, of course, there's a horrific storm.
And I see July 2nd is Friday night. So if everybody's okay with the 2nd of July for the rain date, right? Perfect. Good to go. Now, anything else there, Dave?
No, that's it for me.
Well, thanks very much for all you did this last go, and see you soon.
You bet. Thank you.
Have a good week.
You too. Take care.
Mr. Chair, could we have 5 minutes?
We sure can.
Thank you.
No problem. Break in 5 minutes there, Annette, if that's okay with you.
How are things in Golden Lake, Merv?
Sorry?
Say, how are things in Golden Lake?
Oh, still going strong.
Still going strong? Yeah. Is the water high or low up there, Merv?
It's getting down.
It's getting, yeah. I think it's getting low everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the resort owners aren't very happy, shut down over the holiday weekend.
No. Yeah,
It's going to be tough.
yeah. I feel for them. Hopefully we'll get some rain the next week or so to get the,
God, we need some badly.
we do.
How's it going,
Hello.
Kevin?
Not too
Grass
bad.
is growing. The hay in the fields are growing.
Yeah, I think if it stays hot like this, it maybe an earlier hay season than normal because everything will be starting to shoot.
Mhm.
We're discussing this proposed update for the museum. One of the things is number 5, asking the municipality to do brushing along the trail and weed spraying annually. Is that a Jason thing or a Kevin thing?
That more Jason.
Should we maybe bring Jason back for this?
Well, I was gonna say for that, Jen, I was just gonna say I guess it's a clarification on what their request is. If it's just like your basic what we do at McRae's Park and it's just spot spraying, or if the expectation is to do everywhere. Because how I look at them, like, well, we could probably just get a little can of weed killer and kill a couple weeds on the side of the thing. I guess it's on what degree, right?
I also don't know if we have, if that's something that we do, if we have licensing for that, or if it's something that we hire out and contract. So I did send it off to Jason. I did ask him the question. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, but when he does, then I will respond to the museum that yes, we can do it, or no, we can't. Because I think if we can, we would. But if we don't have the proper equipment or licensing and we're not able to do it, then and we have to hire out for it, then that's up to the museum to do so.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, Mr. Chair, but I think that we were licensed to do hogweed or whatever it was.
I
So
thought we had the county do that, did we not?
Wild parsnip.
did we not do some of our own?
No. I doubt very much.
I thought the county did our noxious weed problem. Just as a recollection there, when Bill, I remember getting some stuff presented to me and giving it to Bill, and we had the county look after us when it was time for them to do it, right? I'm not 100%, but we're getting close. Am I correct, Murph?
Yes, it does. And I doubt very much if we have anyone qualified. I have the qualified chemical applicators license for farm use, but I can't go out and spray roadways or one. That's a totally different license. So I doubt very much.
But do you need one if you just go by?
So
like
it happens to drift across the roadside just at my farm there someplace.
I think the stuff that they use in the municipal applications, Brent, isn't the home gamer stuff. It's the good stuff, you know.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I guess it's like what's expectation or what we're spraying is the really, like, if we're just doing a spot spray of a couple little dandelions or whatever, we can use the acetone based home-based products. They're your basic sold in the stores Roundup, not your herbicides that the green, like your golf courses have, right?
Right.
We'll talk about it tomorrow at the SLT, and then we'll get back to the museum. If we can do it, I'm sure we'll do it.
Okay, if everybody's good, we can get things rolling along here. And I'd like to welcome Kevin.
Thank you.
See you there, Kevin. Go ahead there, Kevin.
I guess what Jack from the museum is did some inquiring and just some questions towards me, just wondering if they were doing what they're doing. They're applying for some grants right now, and this is only questions that he put forward to me. If they proceeded with some grants and they received the grant money, that if I'd be willing to sort of oversee and just to make sure that they were getting the value for their grants, and he was going to look after everything else. So my feeling on that is if that's what he wants, I don't have a problem with that. It's more or less just to double check on if there's a contractor and they're doing their work, that we're getting our value for the money we're spending. And basically that's all that Jack wanted to inquire about, basically.
Go ahead there, Jen.
So I did fill out the Survey Monkey because I figure the more that they have, the better. And I actually put it on my Facebook page as well. So I was encouraging people to fill this out. I think that this is a really important asset in Bonnechere Valley. And I think Jack's update for us is really well done. Mr. Chair, do you want to go through the 5 questions?
Sure. And then I believe there was a part in correspondence that also relates back to it as well, right?
Yeah, that is about insurance for their directors. Certainly, yeah, wherever you want to place that. I think that the insurance for directors, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. I think that they absolutely should be protected by the municipality.
I believe so too.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. But yeah, maybe just the 5 questions, what concerns or changes do you have or suggest? I mean, that was in the Survey Monkey. I thought that they nailed the things that could be better done, like perhaps handrails, a bench every now and then, a better opening. So I think I checked a whole bunch of the boxes because I thought that their suggestions were so well done. But so I included mine in the survey, but I'm not sure where the rest of council lands. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that.
Well, I'm okay personally with Kevin assisting in whatever he can do, for sure. If we can get them a little more help, and it's benefiting the community, right? So we got to do our part to help back too. So I'm completely good with that. Go ahead there again, Jen.
And one of the only things that's been open during COVID.
Yes.
We're really enjoying it. So the second question was, can you suggest any other stakeholders we should contact? I don't know about you guys, but I read this and I think that obviously we are a stakeholder in it. So I just want to make sure that we're included in this lovely list. But the fact that the Bonnechere Cycling Group and the Algonquins of Pequotnagon, our Horticultural Society, I mean, the list goes on and on. I think they've really built up an excellent group of interested parties, but I certainly would like us to be one of the stakeholders.
Brent?
No, actually, going off what Janet said, one of my notes, I just said, and maybe we could provide maybe a letter from council, I guess, in support of it. That would just be my recommendation, just because I was going through the list as well. And I think that would be a good letter of support, especially, yes, a lot of people are utilizing it a lot more. And I did the Survey Monkey as well. No, I think it's just a benefit, especially you want people to be outside, you want them to be active, you want them to learn about our area. And you're going to get more and more people. We have a lot more people that are moving to our area. It's just what's happening. So we want them to have like this experience. And at the same time, there's other local places that can go to and experience the same thing. So no, definitely, I think a letter of support from us as a stakeholder is definitely very important. And I fully support Kevin helping, I guess, GC at just making sure the quality controls there, and then we're getting this best bang of the buck for it. So.
And since we're on the topic, then, did you want to go to with the insurance now? Is everybody okay for helping the insurance with the directors?
I think it's imperative, Tim.
I believe so too. I thought that absolutely there's.
Can they be covered under the township insurance? Can they be covered under the township insurance?
Yes,
to help with
yeah.
Directors there.
Yeah, I was actually a bit surprised to find out that they weren't insured, because you know, in this day and age, especially with what this entity, not only the museum, but taking on so many other roles in the community, I think that it's absolutely imperative. So the next question is, should we or should we not go for bilingual signs? I would say that applying for bilingual signs would actually be an enhancement to any grant application, especially with the feds, considering our proximity to Quebec. It would be my recommendation that if there are grants out there for bilingual signs, that absolutely they go for them. But that's just my perspective.
If we get grants for the bilingual signs, I'm okay, but I support bilingualism. The thing is, in our communities, for the most part, anywhere you go away from Quebec, as long as we, as a township or municipality, you know, not get into a trend of that, because there are a lot of costs for signs. Signs are very expensive, but if it's going to aid in a federal grant, I would support that. But as far as just buying signs out of pocket to do so in the future with other stuff, I'm not really on board, because anywhere outside of the Ottawa area, even traffic signs and stuff, you don't see bilingual signs in too far into Ontario. Brent, you had something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if it allows us to apply for specific grants that helps us out, say in the larger scheme of things, then 100% I am fine with it. I just, outside of that, I would just keep it how we would generally order signs as is right now.
Jen?
Sorry, I just went back to the signage part, that people have commented that the present sign at the site does not attract visitors. They're looking at doing an aluminum sign, but I think that the intention was, yes, that they would apply for a grant for it. That's sort of what I was getting from this whole document, is that, you know, if the money is there, then they will do just safety railings. So I think that was the intention of this. But no, I agree, guys.
Yeah, totally supported. If it's for the grant application, and if it's going to open up a few more doors, whether they go to the feds rather than just the province, if that's going to get some more, you know, basically, you know, throw some more stones at it, the more shots you fire, the better chance you are hitting the target. So,
right.
Absolutely. I don't know if I've ever used that pun before, but anyway. Yeah. Analogy, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, that Jack and his team have put together an amazing thing here. This is a very important document. So the next question is, will the municipality take on watering the flowers in the flower boxes on an annual basis? And I think that question has to go to Kevin, for your wonderful people that water the flowers around the village. Is this something that you'd be willing to take on?
Well, it's like, it depends how many boxes they're going to have down there. It's like, you know, it's off the beaten track for sure. Like, you know, I think we kind of have to wait and see how many boxes or flower box. Like, it's just they're just seeing what they can get right now. It's hard to say. Maybe not a whole lot will happen this year. I don't know. Like, you know, if it's a matter of grabbing a 5-gallon pail of water and taking it out, that's not a big problem. But if they have getting into a flower bed, which in turns is going to take more water, that's just giving them more time to maintain it. That's the big thing.
Can I make a recommendation to council? Kevin, put a cap on the time spent on it going into it, and then stay with that, right? Stay within the time frame. And if it's going to exceed a certain amount of hours per week doing it, you have to, you know, use your judgment. Go ahead there, Brent.
I was just going to say, no, I agree with you, Kevin. We have to find more information, but I guess my recommendation would be to agree that we'll do at the entryway of the Geo Trail. So from where I guess the septic stations are, all the way to the beginning of the forest line where the Geo Trail actually starts. I'd say commit to their watering it. This is just my recommendation, obviously. And then when we know that if there is other flower boxes, then they would have to come back to either yourself, Kevin, or council. But that just shows, I guess, then they can spruce up their entryway to make it more visibly appealing. Because my understanding, our water lady goes down to McCrae's Park, and then she'd wrap around. So she's in that proximity. And then the nice thing about, I guess you would say, from the beginning of the Geo Trail, which is the forest line, all the way to John Street, then she's in, I guess, view of the road. So you can control her safety a little easier as well. I guess, so that's what my recommendation so if they do get a grant, they move forward with something, would be to, yes, we'll water from the entryway of the Geo Trail to John Street, because my understanding, the entry of the Geo Trail actually begins at the forest line. That's my understanding, so that's what I would agree to.
Yeah.
I think I misunderstood until Brent just brought this up. I thought the flower boxes were only going on the roadside of the gate of maybe this is something much like the question number 5 about brushing and weed spraying. Perhaps, Annette, if you could respond and just ask maybe what the parameters are of both of these items before you get into your SLT tomorrow. Because when I read this, I thought that they were just doing flower boxes, to say, hey, here's the Geo Trail. I don't know where they put flower boxes further into the trail. There doesn't seem to be a lot of room for them, but perhaps I'm completely incorrect.
Merv,
Yeah, that's, oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Anna.
I can speak after maybe.
Okay, Merv.
That's okay.
Yeah, I can see putting flower boxes at the entranceway, but putting flower boxes down the trail, I'd be very interested to see how long they'll last. So they don't get vandalized. I mean, we had them vandalized up at the library. You put them down the secluded trail, you may only do it 1 year.
And that's why, that's why it goes back to, like I say, a certain time cap, or, if it takes 15 minutes on your way past to do the watering, I'm all right with that, but, be conservative with your time as well. Go ahead there, Annette. No, you had something to add?
So, so I would sort of turn to Kevin and let him speak to Jack. He's already going to be working with them on this project, whether they get, and they're applying for funding for all of it. So we don't know whether any of it is moving forward, and he's already working with him. So I would turn to Kevin and let him work out with Jack what he thinks is doable. And if it's just a couple of flower boxes at the entranceway and that's all that's doable for Kevin's department, then that's up to then I would, put that back to the museum, that if they're willing to do more. And I don't know that there is more involved in that. And as far as the spraying, we are doing it this year at the end of June, and the trail is already on the list. So that's a no-brainer, and it is contracted out, but that asset was already on the list to be done this year. So.
Okay. Anything else there, Kevin or Jen?
I don't have any other questions until we get, I'll talk to Jack again and just say, and I think what they're doing, they're just putting proposals out there and seeing what they're going to get. And it's early stages. So I think whatever they get, they'll be definitely appreciated. And if we can help them out just at the start at the front entrance, that shouldn't be an issue. But like you said, Tim, I never even thought of that, going back further, your buyers, an individual could be by themselves, safety wise, or it might've been Tim that said that, but yeah, good point.
Brent?
Yeah, no, definitely. You always want to keep an eye on your workers, but where I was going from that is so when I spoke with Jack earlier about the brushing, it was more just to, my understanding was more just to add it in on a more regular basis, similar to how we've done, say, like the Centennial Hill, we've done other parts of the township. Maybe it's more of a clarification. I'm not sure the last time it was brushed, I guess. So I think, I don't know if it'd be heavy. I think the first time we do it might be a little heavier than all the other times, as long as we maintain it. But I'll leave that with you, obviously, you and Jason there, Kevin.
Okay.
Any other questions for Kevin? There you go, Kevin. Well, that's a lot of notes to take. Thanks very much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. Now we're going to turn it over to Annette.
Did everyone just see Annette fighting ghosts in the township office?
It was a mosquito. I got it.
His brothers will be back.
I don't know where it came from, but anyway. Okay, so I just had two things that I needed direction on. So one is the alternative voting methods. And the reason why I needed direction on this, council doesn't really have to make a decision until next year, except a lot of our neighboring municipalities are meeting next week. And so they're going to do a joint RFP to, get the best price out there on the market. Now, I know in previous elections, council has done vote by mail and paper ballot. And I don't think any municipality in Renfrew County, I can't speak for outside of Renfrew County, is proposing getting rid of the paper ballot. So even with COVID, everyone is still feeling that the electors want to have availability of paper ballots. However, a lot of them are sort of reducing it to just voting day, so that we're not really having advance votes and stuff like that, because they do already have either online voting, vote by mail, vote by telephone, all of these different options. So the one thing I have to say is that everyone that's used telephone voting really regretted it. That was definitely the theme throughout the meetings that we've had. So although that was something I thought might do well here, because we don't have great internet connection across the whole township. And I thought, well, would that be something to add because of COVID? If you can't come out, you can just, everybody's got a phone, but it sounds like that's a nightmare. So looking at other options, there's either internet voting, but again, with the broadband, is this the right time to get involved with that? Or do we wait for more investment from the province and the feds until the broadband and the internet connectivity is on a better level to involve that? And if you do vote by mail and internet voting, like, it quadruples the election costs. So I don't think that's what we want to do. And if we get rid of the vote by mail, the issue is then, so people with good connectivity are going to be able to vote online. People are going to come out and get a paper ballot. But people are used to the vote by mail. So, and they're already going to have a bunch of information coming to them about the ward boundaries disappearing. And so the voting at large. So two things for that. It might be a good time now to move to an online voting or a different voting method, because we're already going to be educating the public on something else. Or is it better that they're already going to be educated on vote at large instead of vote by ward? And, so we're going to try and keep everything else similar to last time. And then if they do have the option to vote by mail, which as far as I know has gone very well here in previous elections, then they don't have to come out. So if we are still having COVID issues or other issues next fall, you don't have to leave your home. You can just mail it in, and then we'll still have the paper ballots as of the day of. So just looking for a decision so that next week when we meet, I can say, yes, BV wants to participate in the joint RFP, or you know what, guys, we're out for this election. We'll talk to you in 4 years. We're going to proceed on our own with our own methods. So that's question number one. Mr. Chair.
If I may, I'm going to speak to that quick. If it ain't broke, don't fix it is my analogy. Our staff is all prepared to do it. They've all done it the last time. Everything went really well and smooth. The mail in, everybody's able to do. The cost, we know what it is. Everybody in the municipality seemed to get along very well with the last round, the time before and the time before that. And that's my 2 cents, so to speak. If we're presenting certain amounts of change to the general public, let's keep it to a minimum, especially with the open ward, because that is going to be a change. I'd rather do baby steps than try and overwhelm people. That's my take on it. So I think the way we did it last time worked out fantastic. We'll go with that, on my opinion. I see Merv and then Brent.
I agree with you, Tim, to the fullest. The last time it went very well. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And remember, KISS, the other municipalities got into this complicated stuff. Let's just keep it simple.
Brent?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what we did last election, I think I would recommend to carry forward. The only difference in the ward systems, obviously. But no, I think how it was run last time, and we have the vote by mail the same as we did last time. And we've been hand counting it, everything. So no, I think how we operated last time, I'd be comfortable moving forward, especially going to the next election.
Jen?
Thank you. I also think that the mail-in ballots make it fair for everybody across the board. So whether you have connectivity or you don't, or you are a computer genius or you're not, it doesn't matter. And with the changing of the no ward system, I think having online voting will just make it more convoluted. Again, I'm all about fairness, and I think that this is the way to keep it fair. And perhaps, you know, if all goes well with Eorn, perhaps in the next election, you know, we will have proper connectivity and people will know that we are not in a ward system anymore. But for now, I think the mail-in works very well for everybody. Thanks.
Jack?
I agree that we use the mail-in because we got to think there's a lot of people not even have internet. There's still quite a few people that don't even have a computer access to it. So I think stay with the mail-in. It worked fine. We had a good representation of people voting last election. So I would say stay with the mail-in ballots.
So there, it's pretty unanimous. Go ahead there, Brent.
I was just going to say, with all the new people moving into the area, I'm sure we're going to have quite the updated voter roll as well going into next election. So I'm sure staff will be prepared for that, but it is something to look forward to.
Okay, well, thank you. That's the direction that I needed. So I will let the group know. Thank you for letting us into your group. And we're going to go out now. So, but it was good. It was good information to have, and you know, working together never hurts. So that's good. The next thing is, what was my next thing? Oh, the electronic sign purchase. Yes, at the office. So as we all know, the sign died, and so we did get some quotes on replacing it. And so the one we've chosen is low bid, but it's also the same manufacturer of the sign that we have now. So that's kind of nice. So we want to kind of go ahead and order it because, as we were talking about earlier, who knows how long things take to get here, and we want to get it moving forward. And it was approved in the budget. So that's
My question is, how old was the sign that we have?
7 years.
Ooh. And we're going to go with the same manufacturer?
Yep.
What's the life expectancy of these signs supposed to be?
Probably 5 years.
Ooh. Okay.
And we're upgrading. We got the lowest quality last time. And maybe it was the only one available. So don't take that as a criticism. It could have been the only electronic, but electronic signs have come a long way. And so we're getting an upgraded version along with, and it will connect all the software and all the stuff that we have right now. So we don't have those additional purchases.
Does that price tag come with extended warranty?
Probably not.
Okay. Go ahead there, Brent. I said Brent and then Jen.
No, it's fine. I don't have any comments at this time.
Jen?
I was just going to say what Annette said. When we purchased this sign, we didn't go for the Cadillac, only because we weren't sure if it was even going to be a great communication device. It's turned out to be very important and would have been very useful during COVID. But I was surprised. This price seems very good, considering, you know, it's an upgraded communication device. So I'm all in. Let's do it. And no electronics last anymore.
Jack, did you
get funding for it?
Yeah.
So it is covered.
The only thing, when it comes to electronic devices, you're lucky to get five years. And if you get 10 years out, be very thankful, because they just don't last because of the abuse, and they're basically designed to last so long unless you install military IC components in them, what they use for CDUs and stuff on aircraft, but then your cost would be substantially higher, substantially. So it's a commercial product. It's designed for 5 years. That's basically what you're going to get.
Okay.
If we order the components and we let Tim put it together, like the mill and the chainsaw, maybe we could get 10 years out of it.
More power. I'll have her hooked up to 220 to be able to see that sign from Ottawa coming in from Montreal
Or-
side.
It
So,
sounds
yeah.
like maybe we should get Jack to order the parts, though.
Jack knows about the part. Well, yeah. Okay, Merv.
Are we going to have a little larger print than this? Is it going to be a larger sign than the one we have now?
It's an upgraded sign. Yes, it is. It
Yeah.
still has,
Because
I think, the same.
I look at the one on the
lines, but-
reserve. I look at the one they have on the reserve, and it's great.
So the
Large-
pictures that you sent out to us there, Annette, so the next sign is going to be ground level rather than up on the post, or?
It's- Well, it can be installed, how we tell them to install it in the same spot, but it's going to be
Yes.
more similar to the one that you see at Opiongo at the high school.
Okay, no, and that was my question, because that was, ours is up on the pedestal, so to speak, and you
Yeah.
can see that coming in, and it
We still want it high enough up, like we don't want it, but if you Opiongo's is a bit lower, but you can still, like, it's right there to see, right?
But my other question was the price quoted elevated like that, or was there a difference putting it up or down, or?
It's the same
Doesn't
company
matter.
that did it for us last time, so they know where our sign is and how it is, so it does, yeah,
Perfect.
so it should be good.
Okay, thanks, Annette.
Okay, so that's all that I had for,
Oh, Annette,
oh, yes.
Cheryl Gallant's request about the constituency day.
Do you want me to do that now? Sure, I can do that
Yeah.
now. Yes, so I did get a call from our MP's office, and they would like to have a constituency clinic here in the council chambers, which I think they did back in 2019 as well. So from like 12 to 4 on July the 27th. So we should be in good shape by then to have that happen. So there'd be signage up and there'd be a few people coming into the office. Of course, should be mostly local people, but by then we should be in good shape anyway. So I just said that seeing as we had a meeting today, I would bring it forward in case there were any concerns from council, but
No concerns on my part, Merv?
No.
Good, everybody good, thumbs up?
great.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Now I think that's all I have.
thanks, Annette. So I guess we'll move along to correspondence A. Anybody want to touch on anything from correspondence A? No? Okay, move along to correspondence B. I think we've pretty well wrapped up the last item on correspondence B. Is there anything else in the middle of correspondence B that we shall talk about? No, and okay, so that takes us along to the mayor's report.
Thank you, sir. So in May, I attended 22 meetings. I'm just going to give you a briefing because I know we're getting late in the day. On May the 3rd, we had an EORN, EOWC, and EOMC meeting. We had an update with Rogers. It was very interesting, to say the least. Their investment in our eastern region will be approximately 150 million, but I think one of the things that we liked the most was the amount of community engagement Rogers is intending to do in each of our communities, grants with, for tennis courts, things like that. So that was great. On May 5th, I had an EACDG meeting. The fishing dock is on track. Things are going very well. The golf tournament, as you all know, has been moved to June 11th. Thank goodness now the golf courses are open. I know that Brian Weckworth and his team have been working very hard. Our website is being updated and we are getting stories from some locals to put on that. You should see the murals on Dave Kruger's building going up very soon. He was just waiting for good weather to paint the building so that they're pretty substantial murals. So yeah, we are doing more social media. There was a decision that the wall across from Rio that was intended to have a mural on it, because of the snow plows, it's just not feasible. We don't want to be ruining a mural every year, and I certainly don't want our snowplow operators to be frustrated. So we agreed that we would just paint that wall blue and call it a day. McCrae Park, they were looking at some solar lighting. We did have a real estate update. Apparently, the average day in the county for a house on the market is 9.8 days. The average is 495K, and the average over listing is $32,000. That day, there were 8 listings, and 4 were conditionally sold the night before. So, you know, the real estate agent, I'll get to this in my county council report, but we certainly are seeing a housing boom, which is a blessing and a curse. I had an Ottawa Winter Games chairs meeting. That was very interesting. I've done a procurement register and a purchase order so that people can start getting some quotes. On May the 6th, we had an EORN board meeting. Because it was virtual, our AGM, we had 30 members log in, which was wonderful. I am now a member of the governance committee for EORN, and somehow I became the chair of the audit and finance committee. I'm not exactly sure how that occurred, but it did. Just another update from Rogers. If a resident wants to lease land to put a tower on it, you can go to the eorn.ca website and let EORN know that Rogers can get in touch with them. I'm not even going to bother commenting on the vaccine rollout because it changes daily, if not hourly. In our health committee meeting on May the 12th at the county, we had a report on the opioid crisis. The paramedics are dealing with several overdoses per day. Last year, the entire year, there were 24 opioid overdoses. This year to the end of April, there were 28. So, you know, we heard from Greg this morning, this is going to be a bigger and bigger and bigger challenge. And that is why we've included addiction in our rural and remote mental health and addiction initiative here in Bonnechere Valley. I had a finance committee with Ontario Winter Games. Again, we had another RM8, we're calling it RIM High, by the way. And we were talking about advocating for mental health, which is obviously an ongoing initiative. And Annette and I are going to ask for a delegation at AMO in August to discuss this with the health minister. Obviously, this is a problem, not only in our region, but in every region. So just want to give you highlights here. I attended a conflict of interest meeting with the Honorable Jill Dunlop on May 20th. It was very interesting, a lot of interesting questions being asked about bigger penalties, you know, suspension of members of council for different discretions. So that was interesting. Obviously on May 20th, the Premier announced the 3-step reopening, and at that point opened up golf, tennis, baseball, soccer, that kind of thing on the Saturday. We had a meeting with Minister McLeod from Tourism, Culture and Sport on that same day, talking about $100 million investment, that there's a deadline of June 25th, and a very quick turnaround for those grant apps. So I know that Dana is on that, and will probably be bringing back an information item to us in June. County Council on May 26th, we had a delegation with a company called Sustain Technology out of Nova Scotia. They're a waste management company. They do not gasify, nor do they incinerate. It's a proprietary way to rid themselves of waste, and more to come on that, because it was just a preliminary information item to County Council. We Mayor Bros asked for a list of resources that we have in our community services department, sort of speaking to the community safety and well-being plan to show the province that we in fact have these resources at the county level, and why are we reinventing the wheel? Unfortunately, guys, I have some bad news. Taste of the Valley will be virtual this year. They just don't feel that with the short timeline, with the 3-step reopening, that the end of August will be viable here in Bonnechere Valley. I'm sorry to bring the bad news. Again, I spoke to the speed sign that we can request for our county roads. I did speak, I had a few farmers reach out to me about the Herds Creek Bridge. It's a complete overhaul, rebuild. So I've let our public works director at the County of Renfrew understand that this is cumbersome and very expensive for our farmers to have to do this detour for the 3 months that, of course, also coincide with their haying time. So Lee is going to make sure that the contractor is alerted to this, and he will get back to me about timing. Also, we awarded the rehab of the 4th Chute Road Bridge. Again, Michael Donahue and I both spoke to the fact that, again, we've got farmers moving from township to township, and these bridges are very, very, very important. Michael did talk about when the Stone Road Bridge was done, it cost his haying operation about $25,000. So not ideal for our farmers at all. And again, I don't need to go over this again. Greg I think, did an excellent job of talking about the Access MHA, the roundtable for mental health. And I am certainly proud to be a part of that. I think it's a very important initiative and will be even more so in the coming years to come, I would expect. And I will always bring back information from that roundtable and from our RIM High. Again, we're redoing our terms of reference on, I believe, June 21st, sort of expanding the purview of what we're doing. Now that we are at the big boys table with this roundtable with Greg, it's an even bigger initiative for us. And I'm so pleased that Greg gave us the invitation so that we're not working in a silo, we're working with our partners in mental health across the region. And Mr. Chair, that's all I've got. I'm happy to take questions if you got them.
My question is, I don't have the paper in front of me. When was the expected start date of the 512 construction project for the county?
It should, sorry, I should have printed that off. Tim, I don't have that in front of me, but if, with your indulgence, I will look that up right now for you.
Sure.
I think it's supposed to be, I'm expecting it's going to be the end of June, but I will, give me a minute.
Sure. Yeah, no, I have been asked that again by multiple people on my travels, and they're wondering.
Oh, I froze up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim, I froze up. What did you say?
It's been asked to me quite often, when are they going to start at that? I hope it's not December.
No,
when are they going to start at that? I hope it's not December. So
just give me 1 minute. I can make this happen very quickly.
Sure.
Does anybody have any other questions while I'm doing this? Sorry, I did freeze up.
No problem. While you're looking for that, I can give the EGC update. According to our plant manager, we could use a few more drops of water upstream, but other than that, because of the dry weather, it's slowing down a little bit. Am I correct there, Jack?
Yeah, it's all the logs are in now in both the Traymore Dam and Round Lake Dam and the Lake Clear Dam. All the logs are in to hold back the water for the summer water levels in all the lakes. Actually, last week they actually jacked down and sealed the logs in Golden Lake. So we are seeing quite a bit of drop in water to the point right now where we're just managing to keep one of our units running. So that's,
Okay.
but it's
To be
expected. It's about a year earlier or about a month earlier this year, but it's just, we didn't have a lot of snow and we didn't have a big freshet. So
No, that's for sure. And by the look of our forecast, it's looking very hot and very dry again. So as far as runoff and stuff to help attribute to a little bit more water, it's probably out of the question. Everything else is going well. I could do like Daryl, thumbs up, and yeah, good show.
Daryl didn't do a thumbs up today.
I know. I kind of.
And he didn't do the shrug. Tim, I have an answer for you.
Okay.
Now, remember, this report's a month old. So at the time this report was done, they were just finishing up some of the property purchases, and the utility relocation is in progress. So that's where we are right now.
Okay.
Yeah. The surveys have all been done. Environmental assessment's been done. And yeah, so it's looking good.
Okay. No,
Here.
that's great. Hopefully sooner than later. Definitely. So it's a terrible chunk of real estate.
Well,
okay.
Driving to the Lake Clear transfer site is not the most enjoyable drive.
No, it definitely deteriorated many years ago. So it's glad to see that it's coming.
But thanks for the question. Did anybody have anything else for me? Sorry about that, guys. I should have been prepared for that question.
I see Jack has a question there, Jack.
yeah, Jen, you were talking about the Fort Chute Bridge. What is the time frame for that bridge? Did they set a stop time or what?
Jack, because they only awarded the contract at a special meeting of operations right before County Council last Wednesday. When I asked the question of Lee couldn't answer, our Public Works Director, he couldn't answer the question because it was literally awarded like an hour before this report. So as soon as I know, you will know. I'll make sure that everybody is given an update because I know that this is going to be a frustration now with two bridges in Bonachir Valley, a lot of detours. I know that there's going to be a lot of frustration. Especially considering the time of year.
Well, and we do have two quarries in our municipality right across from them too, right? So there'll be definitely a couple businesses that'll be looking at some adjustments in the future too.
I believe, if I may, Tim, I believe they're considering doing a one-way on Fourth Chute Bridge, much like they did on 512, of course, so that there's not a detour, but you may have to sit with a flag person for a little while. But the problem is with the Herds Creek, and I know that Jack and I have both spoken to the county about this. We are not in agreement with the one lane, but because it is one lane, they can't obviously split it in two. But that's where we're at right now. Thank you.
No, and that goes to what we're doing with our project up in Plymouth. When we're digging into it, now's the time to bring it up to today's standards. And it's too bad the county couldn't have had a little bit more pushback because that is a high traffic area too. A lot of people use that, I always called it the town line, but Silver Lake Road, right? Jack would be able to attest to that. It would have been a lot nicer to see, and especially with the fact that so many farmers do use it. Well, when you have farm machinery or implements on the back of your tractor going down, you have no extra room. Go ahead there, Jack.
Yeah, it's just, I don't quite understand why they wouldn't have put something in like they did on Whitkey Road where they put in large culverts. Because that way then they'd be able to slope that whole hill. Because if they don't remove that hill, your bridge is going to see the same wear and tear from the water running down and sitting on top of it and then freezing and cracking. Like where and the Herds Creek is the same creek on Whitkey Road there, where they put in a couple of large culverts and they bridge that hill so that it slopes properly. And I just don't understand why they go back to this type of a railing bridge and a single lane bridge. Doesn't make sense to me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, Sand Road as well. Did we not go to culverts there, or is that bridge again? Because that was bridge back in the day. I remember as a kid, we fished off it. Did they go to culverts?
They put a culvert.
And it's the
Yeah, they
same
have a
water
culvert
system.
there as well.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
water system. And it doesn't,
The opening on Wiki Road is the creek's a lot wider there than what it is here on Silver Lake Road. So there's no excuse for me. There's no way they can justify to me why they didn't put a culvert in. And because it would have fixed the slope of that hill. Because right now you're gonna have the same mess that you have, spending all this money, the road's shut down for 3 months and you really got nothing. In 2 years, your top of your bridge is gonna be cracked and lifted and be full of potholes again. So. if they
And
don't cut
Jack,
the road in.
I spoke to this at county. I spoke to Lee privately and then spoke to the, you just nailed it. I said the one on Wiki Road is far wider than what you would have had to put in on Herds. And in previous discussions, now I'm not on operations committee, but when I was, that was supposed to be a culvert. I don't know where it changed hands. Obviously, we're not given design drawings unless we ask for them, but certainly a surprise. And Jack, you well know that when I initially asked our public works director, he said, no, it is going to be a culvert. And then emailed me and I emailed all of you, and then he emailed me very quickly back and said, whoops, I'm now being told, no, it's not. So even he thought that that was the design going forward. I have expressed our displeasure. Tim, I agree with you. I think Jack and I both spoke to Lee about the problem with traffic counts. When you're talking about a Saturday or a day during the week that the Sand Road dump is open, do your traffic counts there, because they are far more than, a Monday morning. So
You got a lot of people going through the back way to the reserve too, coming this way.
I was just going to say, and that's why we're going forward with Augsburg Road in the direction we are, because the traffic loads, and Silver Lake Road is increasing exponentially as well because of the services that are provided at Pequawknagon now. And we're going to notice that, with the draw that, anybody in the Sebastopol Township area are using the Silver Lake Road to get across there to, to Crimson Maple and down and through. And I was shocked by it. And is it a big ask to look into that, or is that, I know the project's already started, but is there a good explanation why they wouldn't have maybe went the same route we have in our municipality and increased width, did it with culverts and probably for a less price than what you could ever install a bridge for, because that's definitely a good chunk of public money in order to do so. Go ahead there, Jack.
Yeah, because the county would have put the culverts in on Whitkey Road. And
Yeah.
so it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'll guarantee you, there's no way Whitkey Road was shut down for 3 months. No way.
And we didn't really have much time to, not rebuttal, but you understand there was really no debate on our end for doing something within our municipality, because up until, very short long ago, even our road super was under the impression that it was a culvert. So, we didn't have much time to even get any skin in the game, if you understand what I mean.
And that is exactly what Michael Donahue and I have asked for, is far more participation from the municipalities when something is being done in our municipality. So when we sit at the county, we are counselors. I am Councillor Murphy at the County of Renfrew. We are not there to sit for Bonnechere Valley or Admiston Bromley or the like. We are there to sit for the County of Renfrew. However, that being said, when something is happening in our municipality, especially something like this that affects farmers during hay season, that's the time we need to be consulted. And so Michael and I both spoke to that, and we have been told that yes, there will be better communication with our municipalities. These things get done like boom, boom, boom. And next thing you know, the sign is up, we're rebuilding Herds Creek Bridge.
Well, And that's what I don't understand. For the most part, government is slower than a snail. And on something like this, it warp speed, like was somebody from Star Trek working on board this bridge project? Because usually that don't happen. You know, I'm so used to, but hey, for the one time where we could have given a little bit of input, she's already gone. So anyway, I know the project has started. It's a little frustrating. I can see from a few of us in the room. So go ahead. I guess go ahead there, Murph.
Yeah, the question that comes up to my mind is who is making these decisions at the county if the work superintendent doesn't even know what's going on? Who is making these decisions at the county?
Well, Merv, that's not really in his wheelhouse. We have our chief engineer that does, you know, the design plans with the contractor. You know, Lee is making sure that things are, the wheels on the bus don't come off, and that things stay within budget, and that projects are managed well. But the design build of something is not necessarily, you know, it's in his department, but not necessarily in his wheelhouse. And, you know, he relies on his amazing staff to get him information. And unfortunately, this was just a breakdown in communication.
Okay. Anything else on the mayor's report? Well, at least you got some tempers flared a little bit. Anyway, that's.
I was expecting more about the mental health initiative, to be honest with you.
Well, it troubles me when, and maybe there's a good explanation, and I don't want to get into, you know, I'm no engineer, but if we could have done it according to like all of our township roads, when we go to rebuild them, we build them up to the code for today's existing surface widths. And when you see everything choked back down to a one-lane bridge, and it's a bridge where, like, I'm sure would cost more than a few culverts, I wouldn't mind an explanation, and I'm sure Jack would like to see that too. Is there any way we can get an explanation as to why? Is there someone we can ask to why? That would be super.
I will make that happen on the break. I will send an email.
Thanks, Jen. Would that be good with you too, Jack? Perfect. Everybody in council okay with that? Super. Okay, let's go on to our next line item. Sorry, my phone keeps going out and I'm using my thing for an agenda. So support resolution for 3-digit suicide line. Everybody is okay with that?
Yep.
Thumbs up. Good. Canada Day we discussed. Number 5, the request from the museum. I think we've discussed the museum wholeheartedly here. And establish the next meeting date, which is on June the 22nd. Yes, June 22nd at 1:30. And I see there's no media and there's no closed sessions. So I think that concludes our meeting. Can I get anything else there, Jen? I seen you were.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to remind people that there's a public meeting at 5:20. So you have to log in with your next meeting line, please.
5:20 at the next meeting, for sure. Okay, can I get a motion to close the meeting? There.